Hey guys, it's Ruffles Kerman, and today we are going to do something a little bit different than we normally do. See, I used to play Legos a lot when I was younger, and to be honest, I still mess with them every now and then. But we used to design a lot of cool things. So what I've shown you right now is actually a Lego Starfighter that my brother and I designed, and I decided it looked cool enough that I should try to make it in KSP. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. We're going to be making this Lego Starfighter in KSP, but it can't just be made and look cool, it actually has to fly as well, which is sort of a challenge because with Legos you can make it look however you want, and it is not actually relatable to physics at all, while in KSP, if it does not fly in the real world, minus the hacks, it won't fly in KSP. So it's a little bit harder to make it here. We named the Starfighter the Firefly. Don't ask me why, but it does sound cool, so I'm still going to be keeping it when we turn this into a real plane and Kerbal Space Program. Now, as I've said before, I don't like to try to make it beforehand, before I make a video, and then just go over my pre-made design in the video. I build it during the video, so what you see here is the first time I was actually trying to build this. I just feel like that's a little more original, a little cooler as well, because you get to see the whole design process instead of me just slapping a bunch of pre-designed parts together into a pre-designed spaceship with a pre-designed method. Pre-designed, I just want to say it again in the sentence. Anyway, as you can see, we're building these little fins here, and they actually do move on the Lego plane, so I decided to make them move here. They'll be in that up position, and then when you take off, they'll move down to a more 45-degree angle for each of them, just because that looks sort of cool, and the aesthetic's sort of what we're going for here. For any of you that make planes regularly in Kerbal Space Program, you might be noticing that the center of mass is behind the center of lift, which is always bad. You should always have the center of lift behind the center of mass, which I did think so at first, and generally that's true, but actually in this plane it flew pretty well like this, which is not normal, and I believe that's because the center of thrust is below the center of mass. As you can see, those engines are pretty low, but yeah, when we try to fly this plane, as we'll be doing now, it actually flies, and it ended up with the center of lift directly above the center of mass, which is a very unstable configuration, which will result in lots of stalls and flipping around, but this did not do that at all. This actually flew really well for its first time, which was very surprising, but a very good thing, I guess. Landing was not a major issue either, which is a very good thing as well, because normally my creations wobble all over and an engine or a whole side falls off, and I have to mess with them a whole bunch before they actually work. This one did not. It was a little wobbly, but it got there. Also, you might be hearing my chair squeaking sometimes. I'm sorry, there's a new chair in here, and I don't really like it, but it is what it is. Right now I'm trying to edit the nose of this craft because the Lego design does not have a normal rounded nose cone, it has a more square-ish one, and KSP does not have the parts for a square nose cone. Alrighty, test run number 2. To be honest, test run number 1 was not that bad at all, but there were a few tweaks that should have probably been made that were made. And so now we'll see if it's working. I still have to get the robotic arms to move with the gear, which we can do before the next test run. But as you can see, this is a pretty stable craft, stable at least according to my standards. I like them to turn very tight. But it's stable, it does not stall very easily at all, and it's able to fly pretty well. I don't like the nose cone configuration, so we're gonna have to change that. But besides the nose cone, I think the rest of it is going pretty well. So for the nose cone, let's just add some structural panels. It can't be a square like the normal one, or excuse me, the Lego design, but that's just gonna have to be dealt with because there are no actual pieces to fix that. Also, let's fix this little engine plate up here because I do like that on the Lego Firefly. So tester number 3 with not a lot changed, and we will see how it goes. Well, that didn't go very well. Test run number 4. I think everything is pretty much finalized by this point, besides the robotic arms. I'm going to bind them to the gear action group just so they move whenever I pull the gear up. But I'll do that later because flying this plane is actually a lot of fun. Well, except for that. Except we do actually have a solution to this. Those were actually decouplers, and now we are left with a starfighter. On the Lego Firefly, this didn't actually happen. It just happened on this one because that's what I use for aesthetic purposes. But if it's Legos, you can always just rip it off. So we can say it actually does happen on the Lego Firefly. This plane is very easy to fly and very fun to fly as well. It's really maneuverable and perfect for tricks and other things like that. I will put the craft file down in the description so y'all can play with it as well. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. I definitely did have a ton of fun flying this thing around. To be honest, I forget exactly where I got the idea of turning a Lego spaceplane into a spaceplane in KSP, but it was a lot of fun because I had an actual physical model I was building it off of. And if you guys want me to do this again, just let me know in the comments below. And it would also be really cool if you could send me some pictures of Lego planes you have made, and I could build some KSP spaceships off of those. So if you have any Legos you think are worth sharing, or even if they're not worth sharing and just are sort of cool to you, then send me a picture in the comments, and the one that gets the most likes, I will do a video on. Well, let's get back to the Firefly. This is going to be our last landing in this video, and it is a picture-perfect landing if you ask me. Honestly, this is a very stable craft. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please do like the video and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.